Hey, welcome to 23 Degrees Sideways. It's going to be a really crappy low light visual for the video, but that's just life. The sun isn't up, and I am. You know, shortest day of the year, the beginning of winter, all that is right here during the week that I'm filming. And I just went past the point where the streetlights end, so, you know. So I participated in, helped actually set up a barbecue to begin the season of Yule. If you're not really into that, it's just basically it's a way of handling the seasonal holidays. That's all you really need to know, I guess. I grew a pig. I do that, you know. I'm about ready to be done with that stage of adventure in my life. I've done it for long enough to really get a feel for it, and it's not something I want as a vocation. Also, I've done it for long enough for some of my children. I do have children who are growing up, right? They're in that stage where near adulthood. They've learned a little bit more about life. Like they're very low drama children because, well, they understand that if you don't feed animals, they die. If you don't water animals, they die. Food comes from animals. They have a really basic reality-based, I guess that's how I would phrase it, reality-based understanding of how the world works and what the fundamentals are. This is one of the things that you see in the shooting sports or shooting culture, gun culture, even if you're not a sports shooter, is, you know, people talk about training. The key to being a good gun owner is based on how many thousands of dollars a year you spend on training, which is bizarre and crazy and ridiculous and completely skips the basic fact that, well, what you need is the fundamentals. Okay? What's on your white belt test? Front kick, reverse punch. What's going to be on your black belt test? Front kick, reverse punch. You may also fly through the air and do a jumping side kick to break 4 boards, but you're not going to get your black belt if you can't get over yourself and do a really good front kick, reverse punch. Basic Hapkido, okay? The same thing in the shooting sports. Fundamentals, you know. Grip, stance, breath, squeeze, aim, your focus. And it's not necessarily that there's always one good way, one perfect way. You know, there are different people. There are target-focused shooters. There are front-sight-focused shooters. And sometimes that changes throughout your life depending on your eyes, okay? Your eyes get a little more or less agile. Surgeries, damage, whatever. You know, there's different things that come around. But the fundamentals are pretty basic. And everything comes out of those fundamentals, okay? You're never going to be a good, fast, tactical shooter if you can't do aimed slow fire. That's just plain and simple. You know, if you can't hit a freaking soda can at 50 yards slow fire with a 22 at least once in a while, then you don't know enough about your sight picture and your trigger control and your stance and how to hold a gun to be super cool tactical jack-off. And it doesn't matter how many thousands of dollars you spend on classes, you need those fundamentals. Pretty basic. Same thing with life. All right? There are fundamentals. We all need food. Food comes from farms, animals, the wilderness, whatever it is, okay? We are carnivore-based, so for us, I gotta pull over for a minute. I got someone with a misaimed bright headlight who will not pass me. There we go. Now I'm not being blinded. we're carnivore based, so the idea is here that food comes from animals. We run a garden, we do all that, but it's not monoculture, acres and acres of crops, completely hands off. No human hand ever touches this until you open up the bag out of the factory. That's not food, all right. But anyway, my kids have that experience of the fundamentals of life. Okay, do you understand indoor plumbing? Living with a septic tank will help you understand indoor plumbing. Power generation. I've dealt with my own power generation periodically, off and on. There's a lot going on there, and I'm done with the farming aspect. I am just really done with it. I've done it for years and years, and it's not a vocation. It's not my path through this lifetime has never been about dedicating myself to one thing and being that thing. It's great for people who are, and I think it's fantastic, and I'm sure that there are lifetimes where I have or will do that, and maybe I'm not even capable of doing that yet. It could be a gradient that I haven't reached. It could be something I'm past. I don't know. It could be a cycle for all the difference it makes to this life. I don't know. But I'm done with the farming. I'm not tired. I have other stuff I want to do, right? And I have other stuff I'm getting ready to do. And I'm not sure where the world is really going with this one, because we're sitting on a very weird time. I've got friends who work for companies who aren't planning to open their offices for the next year or 3. And I'm like, how economically, how long does that last? You have fundamentals, and you have to maintain those fundamentals, and you have to understand how it builds. Okay, if you don't have production, sooner or later you don't have stuff. Okay, we have a lot of excess. That's one of the reasons we've been so resilient through the year of coronavirus, is that we have so much excess. I mean, what is it? Half the food in the United States gets thrown away? A third? It depends on how you look at it, how you count it, and what you're talking about. So if food supplies get a little short and people waste a little less, you almost don't even notice. It's like just a little minor pattern, habit, behavior change. You don't really know. But what happens when it gets below that level? And what happens if the only way to keep it from getting below that level is to have only Wonder Bread? Wonder Bread is the classic joke, right? It's just manufactured bread with no health benefits. It has some low uptake chemicals added to try to make it look healthy, but it is absolutely horrid stuff as far as a food item actually goes. It's not food, it's a food-like product. What happens if that's all that you've got left? What happens when the produce department starts to limit itself to only like a couple of large-scale farmed operations? What's going on, right? Fundamentals. What happens to the power generation? People have to go out and be productive, or things don't work. So these are questions, man. These are very deep, good questions. I'm glad my kids understand the basics, the fundamentals. I'm glad I understand them. This may end up becoming something I need to know about in a couple of years. I don't know. I don't think humans, as humans, are going to tolerate or survive what is being pushed down our gullets right now. The idea of just being drones at home with nothing but video games and TikTok to sustain us, I don't think that's going to last. I don't think that's going to fly. So we'll see how that goes. That's a lot of what's on my mind right now, because you've got these multiple streams, and you've got people on the edges, more and more people on the edges, and the counterculture that is being created is very different, unique, but vibrant and special. Sometimes short bus special, sometimes just bright star in the sky special, but we'll see how it goes. I'm glad to be a part of it, and keep sharing it with you. Remember to do stuff because things happen, and stay sideways.